The Brockville Museum acknowledges that the land on which we gather, exchange ideas, and share our past, present, and future is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat people. So welcome to our video series called Brockville Blazes. We'll explore some historic fires that helped to shape the landscape of the city we know today. So what was here? So here on the corner of Market Street West and King Street stood the Revere Hotel. The Revere Hotel was built all the way back in 1848, first as the Wilton Hotel. So for many years, the Revere Hotel was known as one of the best hotels between Toronto and Montreal, and it had enough room for 50 guests. It was a handsome structure. It was 4 stories tall and with a stained glass cupola that could be converted into an observatory. And it was not an uncommon sight to see the unmistakable Revere Hotel bus, which was a yellow and brown horse-drawn carriage that picked up and dropped off guests at the train station and the river. So the Revere was home to many famous guests over the years, and 2 of these famous guests were George Washington Cable and Mark Twain. They stayed in the Revere on one of their stopovers as they were giving a reading tour. So the night before their show, it was a cold and snowy night, and George Washington Cable wrote in a letter that from hotel to hotel, our journey today was 11 hours in a passenger coach. Snow pouring down all day long, piling up, up, up. The storm roaring and blustering, the train losing time steadily, now and then making long, weary stops in the snow until the snowplow running on in advance should clear the way. Eventually, the men got to the Revere Hotel, and they performed at the Brockville Opera House, where tickets were being sold for 35, 50, and 75 cents. For the price of admission, people could hear the authors read and discuss some of their well-known works. Twain read selections from A Tramp Abroad and sections from his new and yet unpublished work, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. For almost the entire 125 years of its life, the Revere was a well-known and respected hotel. Up into the 1950s, it was considered a classic hotel where rooms cost $3 a night. And even if the rugs were a little threadbare, the rooms were clean, comfortable, and perfect for traveling businessmen. Although the hotel changed hands numerous times, even being closed for a period in 1965, it maintained its reputation as one of the better hotels in the area. So on November 6, 1974, at 9:30 p.m., the Brockville skyline was forever changed. Terry Clancy, a hotel guest and pipeline worker from Peterborough, was walking through a hallway when he realized that the fire had broken out. He immediately tried to raise the alarm, approaching the hotel desk clerk. According to Clancy's later testimony, the hotel clerk ignored him, although the hotel clerk later denied this. Clancy also attempted to use the payphone in the hotel lobby to alert the fire department, but it was already being used, and Clancy was told by a disgruntled guest to go get his own phone. Finally, Clancy approached the hotel manager, and they went to the 2nd floor of the hotel to begin evacuation, but they were forced back from the smoke and the flames. Meanwhile, down in the lounge, patrons had reported hearing someone yell earlier that night that there was someone walking around with a gas can. But these comments were dismissed since it seemed to be an ongoing joke amongst inebriated hotel guests. Soon the fire alarm was raised, and by the time the firefighters had arrived, people were leaning and even hanging from the windows, screaming to be rescued. All of Brockville's 27 men at the fire department raced to the scene. Soon, men were sent from Prescott, along with Augusta and Elizabethtown townships, and nearly 100 firefighters on the scene used 8 pieces of equipment and poured nearly 2 million gallons of water on the flames. Many guests were able to climb down the hotel's rear fire escape, but others had to descend from the Brockville Fire Department's aerial ladder. While there were 82 guests at the hotel, a few did not survive. Tragically, Gertrude Steed, an elderly permanent resident of the hotel, and her sister, Dora Booker, who was visiting her at the time of the fire, both perished in the blaze. 2 other people remained unaccounted for. This is not to say that they too perished in the blaze. Rather, as far as the fire department can determine, many businesses booked blocks of hotel rooms for their workers, and some may have been out of the hotel on the night of the fire. As the fire progressed, it became evident that the hotel could not be saved, and the goal became to protect the surrounding buildings. This included City Hall across the street, the New York Cafe, and the neighboring Recorder and Times building. There was a real fear for the newspaper house catching fire because of all of the paper and chemicals that could help the fire grow quickly out of control. Finally, once the fire was out, it was just estimated that there were $1.5 million in damages. An investigation said that the fire started with a faulty electrical outlet, but Terry Clancy in his testimony said that he had passed by the area and had not seen anything amiss. And Fire Chief William Mannell was certain that someone had doused the hotel in an accelerant and started the fire. The extensive damage meant that the hotel had to be torn down and a new building was built, the Scotiabank, thus ending the life of one of Brockville's historic hotels. A few photos taken of the aftermath of the fire and objects from the Revere Hotel can be seen by visiting our digital collection database accessible through the Brockville Museum's website, brockvillemuseum.com. Thank you for watching.